What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day, bringing you another knife. For today, I am bringing you today the Schrade Extreme Survival. Really cool knife. Another hollow handle survival knife that separates itself from most, especially the old school Rambo knives. I did a video on the Kisljar Survivalist, and I compared the two. So if you really want to see that part of it, look up my video on the Kisljar. It's an awesome blade. You'd love it. As far as this one, you have a 7.5 inch blade. It's all solid piece construction. This blade is not set in and screwed in from the back or welded on. This is solid piece. One of the things I prefer to Kisljar for is that this is 1070 high carbon, where that is 1095, and I appreciate the stronger steel, obviously, more than the less. However, that doesn't make this less of a knife, and just because it's 1070 doesn't mean it can't do what it's supposed to, and it's not going to hold up. It is still very strong. Let's go over the rear end, the contents of the butt. So in here you have this extremely useful in the woods little kit with screwdrivers and hexes and all that. I don't get it. It's not my job to get it, so I don't care. You can actually remove that and put whatever you want in this thing. I would show you the inside, but you're not going to be able to see it, so who cares? Trust me. It's you know, I don't even, it's that long. So here we have a partially serrated blade, and it's the flat serrate, so it's not going to dull. I don't know if you could really get a good look at that. It's the round. Really good. What I absolutely love about this survival knife compared to a lot of the other hollow handles is that it's threaded on the inside of the barrel. What that does is it gives you the ability to make your staff just slightly smaller than, slightly larger than the diameter of this. That way when you put it on, I don't even know if you can see this, but you're not gonna be able to see that probably. It leaves you the ability to actually thread this on there, which tightens and helps out. This is just a regular Joe, obviously survival knife. I needed more survival, so I just wrapped paracord around it. We're not talking about a stick here. We're talking about this. I have to say that the weight distribution on this for a survival knife is really good. Most survival knives are very light in one area and very heavy in another, which makes it odd for swinging and chopping and things like that. This one doesn't necessarily have that feel. While the handle is knurled, it's not exactly grippy. You know what I mean? Even though it's knurled, you'd think that it's going to be really superior in the grasp. It's not. It's about average. They have these little indents right here, as you can see, and it's supposed to help you when you choke up. It's supposed to improve the grip, and I mean, it's a little better than holding onto the round. You want to get that little flat spot, and it does help from the blade spinning. The problem is, if you have big hands, you're really getting around that thing too far, you know. The point is great. It's got a nice drop tip. The blade, if you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, it's not a shiny blade. You can tell in the sheen. I've used this quite a bit so far. I like it, and we're gonna go use it together now. One thing I will say is that the blade is really fat. It's a nice thick blade all the way to the tip. Even though it has a false edge, it still has a nice fat tip. And I really like that, because when you're prying, or if you go into something and you have to get between the ribs, you don't have to worry about breaking your tip off. And guys, you all know it's not fun having a broken tip. What? All right, so let's go play with this thing. All right, guys, so first things first, it's a survival knife. Survival knives must be able to chop. Hollow handle survival knives generally aren't good choppers. The Kisljar was a good chopper. We checked that out, and it actually did a good job. So let's chop with this. I'm going to tell you right away, even though there's some chunks flying, by the barrel handle on this, it doesn't give you the best grip angles for chopping. It does chop. I mean, you can see it going through. It's not having a problem chopping, but it's not a comfortable chopper. It's not going through as easy as some of the other blades. I mean, just shortening my swing is actually helping. So if you're gonna do chopping with this, don't do long arm chops. Do short arm chops and be meticulous and get in there, and it's gonna work out better for you. Real quick, we're just gonna use this little saw top Schrade. It's not a saw. Schrade is good for what it's good for. It's not, this kind of Schrade is not good for sawing. This is going to be good for notching. So if you're putting this on the end of a stick where you need to make a notch to tie around, and that's this little handguard area is going to be good for that. Which here's a complaint. It's not even a complaint. It's just a suggestion that should have been done. In this handguard, you see it's solid. It would have been so much better if they made it come out just a touch more and put 2 holes in it, lanyard holes. That way, when you put this on the stick, you can put a notch in, and then you can use the lanyard holes that aren't on there to tie it securely onto the stick so it wouldn't lift. That's the only suggestion I would have had for this blade, because I mean, doing the chopping, you can see the blade there. It's really, really pretty. The edge holds up really well. It's for 1070 high carbon. It's still really, really strong. It is what it is. The knife is great. So let's keep going. All right, so here we are at everybody's favorite stump. I mean, everybody, the whole world, they love this. We're gonna do some drops. We're gonna see if that giant nut in the end of the pommel is gonna turn the blade, and see how well balanced it really is. You see how much it leaned over. That is not surprising to me. This nut piece. Where are you guys going? Stay with me over here. I was trying to show you something. It's rude, man. All right, so let's get that back in there. Keep going. Don't do that again. All right, so let's try one more. That was actually not bad. It went in pretty straight. We're gonna chuck it though, because I want to see if throwing it, the impact is going to knock free that piece on the inside, and I want to be able to pry with it. So, oh yeah, I'll tell you what, that thing bites in really, really well. It's a good tip for throwing. It's got the spear tip, and that's absolutely necessary for when you put it on the stick. Here's something I noticed in a lot of my videos. I do the old Bob Dole hand, and it looks weird to me. If anybody's wondering why I'm always doing this, it's because it's cold. I'm a sissy. All right, so let's one more of those. You can see the pry. This tip is not going to be damaged from that. It holds on really well. Let's see how the inners held up here. I love having a lanyard, but on something that screws off, it's almost annoying. All right, so you can see a couple of the pieces jarred loose, but it stayed where it's supposed to. This is all magnetic, so pulling it out, they didn't get away from me. Just keep in mind that if you are using this and you're doing things like throwing or chopping or spearing, to be careful when you pull this out, because if you're in an area where there's a lot of loose leaves and whatnot, those will loosen from impact and you can lose them. I'm actually going to leave this off for now because we're going to go and put it on the stick and throw it. All right, people, here we are. We've got the Schrade on the end of the staff. We're about 10 yards outside of the target. Let's see if we can't get this thing in flight. Yeah, that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. Matter of fact, that's so little of a problem Holy crap. That dug in maybe 1.5 inches. And I didn't really throw it that hard. I just gave it a good toss. That one I threw a little harder. I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna check it out together. Taking a walk with Donnie B all day. All right, so here we are. This one didn't go in as far. The last one went into about here. But you see, it does pretty well. I mean, what do you want? It's a throw-in survival knife. All right, here's something we're gonna try for fun. I put a soccer ball just about 20 yards away from me, which is gonna be a pretty good hurl. And soccer ball is the size of small game. I wanna see if I can hit it from about 20 yards using this. And I have a lot of doubts. So let's see. Hit it with the stick. Let's try that again. All right. I don't know if I'm good at this. Let's see if third time really is a charm here. Oh, that's sliced right across the top. All right, hold on, let me check. All right, that was pretty good. So look at the size of this gash right here. If you're talking about a wild turkey or a goose or a duck or a freaking rabbit or something, this blade hit and just sliced right through. That is a pretty damaging laceration, if you ask me. So I mean, a little bit more practice, who knows, I could be dead nut with this thing. But that's pretty good. You know, that's the third time I threw it 20 yards into something this big. And that right there is pretty telling. That's a nice slice. I like that. So can you go out in the woods and use this to take down small game? Abso-freaking-lutely. If you practice with this thing, it's gonna do exactly that. I mean, that's pretty good, I gotta say. That'll even, I mean, you get it right, you could take down a hog with this thing, no problem. Cool, I like that. All right, so we've seen this thing chop, we've thrown it, we have dropped it, we've tossed it, you know, we attached it to a stick, did a whole lot of stuff. Last thing is just some of the finer work. Let's just take this blade now that we threw it across some things, and we'll just try and get a couple little curls here. And yeah, I mean, that's gonna go pretty nice. Yeah, you can get that in there. The knife is really good. It is a true survival knife from every sense of the word. I would personally, if I'm using this out in the woods, I would have no use for the screw set, so I'm probably just going to remove that and add my own kit. But does the work, does all the work. All right, so how do we feel about the Schrade Extreme Survival? Tell you what, I like it. I like it. One thing I'm noticing that you can see from this angle is the knurled grip collects a lot of dirt, right? And once dirt fills in the knurls, you no longer have a knurled grip, you have a smooth dirt grip. So cordage wrapped around that would help. Even a grip tape type thing, if that's what you're into, that'll help. Or just clean it, you know what I mean? Just make sure it's cleaned. The edge held up fantastically. Very nice. It was a lot more comfortable using it than I thought it was going to be when I first held on to it. But it gets not the job done, it gets every job done. The flat part in the grip, that part that you see that has no dirt on it, I took it for granted. I didn't think that was going to make too much of a difference, but being flat in just that tiny little area really helped me hold the knife without it turning. Using it as a spear, tell you what, video speaks for itself. The knife attaches easily, no problem there. It holds on well because of the threading on the inside of the barrel, and It's weighted beautifully to where I was able to make an accurate strike from 20 yards away. I'm pretty impressed. It held up a lot better than I would have guessed. Even the finish on the blade held up really, really well. It's dirty now, and I know that just cleaning it is going to, you know, bring back that nice gray finish. But again, it's a survival knife, so who cares what it looks like as long as it works. And it does. It works really well. So if you're looking for a good barrel handle knife that is absolutely waterproof, not just water resistance, this is the absolute perfect knife for you. It's perfect for you if that's what you're looking for. You want to keep stuff dry, you need something sharp, then this is exactly what you need. It is a one-piece construction, obviously outside of the top nut, but it's a single solid piece of 1070 high carbon steel that works. So I hope you enjoyed it. Listen guys, I'm making a ton of these videos. Please subscribe, it helps me out. I found out, I didn't know how this thing works, but it does. So subscribe, don't be a jerk. Ha! And that's it. This is Donnie B all day. Until next knife.